What's up, guys? This is Chaz and Charlie on this cold day. Just got over the snow here. So today I want to discuss getting tired of hiding your weed addiction. And I know, well, for me, a big part, one of the many reasons I wanted to quit is I got simply tired of hiding my weed addiction, specifically from my wife. Now, I think there's two sides to this. I got tired of hiding at work or being out in public or trying to mask my smell, but more importantly, trying to hide it from my wife that I live with. And I remember I'm a slight wrestling fan. I don't like to admit. But anyway, I remember I was watching a podcast with Tony Atlas, an old school wrestler, and he used to smoke weed, and he was like, he quit because his wife, he got tired of hiding from his wife. Then he got tired of going outside and sneaking around. It became too taxing, too much to smoke, too much to hide. So he got tired of doing it. At the time, I was still smoking, and that did register with me, but I still wasn't prepared to stop at that point. But when it finally came time to stop, there was one of my driving reasons, besides personal reasons here. If I fall, guys, don't laugh, because I contemplated not doing this because I thought it was safe out here. The snow has slightly melted, but I've almost slipped a couple times before I press record, so I'm trying to be extremely careful here. But anyway, I got tired of hiding from my wife. Now, my wife did smoke weed when she got pregnant with our second child. She stopped, did not continue, did not start back when she had the child. But I myself, although I did quit cigarettes, I didn't quit weed. And at first, when I first initially quit, I wasn't hiding it. She still knew I smoked. She still knew when I was going outside to smoke. But I believe the more I continued to smoke, and the more we continued to change my lives, I guess you could say I perhaps felt guilty by smoking. So it's not like she told me at one point, you can't smoke anymore. And I'm like, I'm going to lie and still smoke. This never was discussed. But me personally, I felt guilty about smoking. So for whatever reason, I felt like the more I smoked, the more I had to hide. So it would be a case of, okay, what that looked like for me. Okay, when I would go to work, Charlie, stop pulling. When I would go to work, I would have 5 minutes to smoke before I got in the car. I could also smoke at work, and no big deal. Okay, I may smoke a piece before I came in the house. So I would smoke. I would actually buy latex gloves because my fingertips, when my hands wouldn't smell like weed. We know, people, if you smoke a lot, and that a big part of that smell comes from those fingertips. So I would actually keep a bag of latex gloves in my car. So for that very reason. Hold on, guys. So I would keep a bag of gloves in my car for that very reason, so my hands would smell like it. I had a bottle of Febreze that I would spray first, and then a light spray of cologne, because you can't fully just spray on all cologne. That's gonna cause some alarm, cause some questions. It's not saying I never spray cologne, but just coming in fresh smelling like cologne, that's could definitely. So I would spray Febreze and then do a slight whiff of cologne. And Of course, by this time, I'm smoking a half or a piece, not even a full half. So I'm not all. I guess depending on the grade I had, whether I would have bloodshot eyes. But in most cases, I wouldn't have bloodshot eyes, but I will be slightly buzzed. So I'm trying my best to act normal, not act high. In some cases, that would cause more alarm. She could tell. I'm gonna say if I smoked, every 20th time I smoked, I would get caught. She was like, "You're acting goofy. You're acting silly." And I always would get myself in more trouble by, again, she had never told me that I couldn't smoke, but I still felt guilty. And then when I get caught, I would of course lie and say, "I haven't been smoking." And she was like, "Okay, are you still smoking?" I'm like, "Oh, I smoke every now and then, or every other week, or I've mostly quit, but I just still occasionally smoke." Like, you caught me now, but this is the first time I smoked in a couple weeks, which was a lie. I still was smoking, although I would go certain times and go for some days or a week or two without smoking. But in most cases, I was still smoking on a daily basis, whether it was a little piece or a half. I had not quit. And that cycle went on for, hell, I'm going to say a year or two. And it got to the point where I got so tired of trying to hide my addiction. And coming in my house, in my home, and I'm trying to not get caught red-handed. Of course, I've been working from home for about 2-3 years. At that point, about a year or two. So I didn't so much, although I did spray and try not to get caught at work. Because there were a couple times I mentioned previously that maybe I might not have sprayed good and I felt like somebody smelled me. So now I'm paranoid, like, oh, did they smell me? Did they not smell me? But I could get over being caught at work or whatever. But as far as my home, of course, when I would get caught, it wasn't so much that the weed was the issue. I was lying and I wasn't trustworthy. So it would create this weekend-long argument about why am I lying about continuing to still smoke weed. And I got so tired of that cycle. And it became almost, I'm not sure if you guys can relate, I almost blew my high trying to not get caught high. It started to take too much hiding in order to smoke. Again, I'm having to wait for opportunities to smoke and then go smoke real quick and then make sure I got my gloves and then spray the Febreze and then spray the cologne and maybe use some eye drops, all these things. And by the time you do all that and you're still sitting there like, I wonder, I don't want to get too close. I don't want to hug her. I don't want to kiss her because then she may smell me. I would even come in, guys, and wash my beard with soap because the smoke can also linger in your beard. But I had all these measures I would take to not get caught. And like I said, by the time I'm doing all that, I done blew my high. It's not even worth, at this point, smoking if I'm feeling like I have to do all that just to get high. So on top of me being tired of being addicted, not wanting that hold over me personally, I got tired of hiding it in my own household. That became more stressful than not smoking. And once I did quit, and actually my last day I smoked was with my wife. And that was freeing because I was honest. I'm like, I'm not smoking again until, hold on, guys. Okay, yeah, that was so freeing that I was honest and saying, well, last time I'm smoking, next time I smoke, we'll smoke together. We have not ever smoked together because I have not smoked since that date. But from that day on, it was so freeing that I didn't have to hide from my wife or hide what I was doing. I feel like I was almost living a secret life. I was cheating on her with weed. And life was so much simpler, so much more relaxed when I could go outside, or even the idea, because even I'd also like to garden, so I do have a garden in the backyard. But of course, anytime I would step outside, I also used that time to smoke. I feel like any outside time was an opportunity to smoke. And self-consciously, she kind of knew that. So, of course, when I'm always going outside in the garden, she'd be like, even when I wasn't smoking, she'd be like, you're not really out there planting seeds, you're out there smoking. Which sometimes I was. Most times I wasn't. But hey, I was lying. Who was I to trust? Also, I remember when she would, it was just crazy. Any opportunity where she would leave the house, like, oh, she's gone. The time to smoke. It's a time to indulge. And that wasn't a way to live life. Somebody that's staying in the house with you, whether it's your wife, your children, if you feel like you have to hide it, that means, I think, deep down, you know there's something wrong with it. Now, some people, they may not have my same outlook. They say, screw what she's saying. She knows I smoke. I'm not saying that's everybody's situation. But me personally, I did feel like I felt guilty about smoking, so I would lie about what I was doing. But I felt so free once I quit, and I didn't have to actually live a double life, if you say, hiding my weed addiction. So, guys, I am curious to know if you have ever been in that similar position, not just with your wife, just anybody. Maybe it's with your mom or your parents there, and which I feel like that's not as, maybe it's, you don't really care about what your parents think, but let's say you're a spouse, or your children. Do you feel like it was more trouble trying to smoke or hide your addiction? And was it freeing when you actually quit? Or are you going through that now and maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one that's waiting for her to go to the grocery store so I can go outside real quick and smoke. And then if I was even with, I guess it's a bad dad moment, if I'm watching the kids, I'm like, oh, they're playing, I can step outside real quick and hit it real fast. I always feared she was gonna pull back up when I was on the porch, and I had time to mask spray. Or I felt like, what if when the kids get hurt and I'm kind of buzzed, I'm gonna be in a shitload of trouble. But thank God it never happened. But why live a life in fear of that? Just, if it's that crucial, if you feel it's that necessary to lie and hide, maybe you, like myself, shouldn't be smoking. But I'm curious to know, guys, what do you think? Are you going through this? Am I crazy? Or am I making a big deal about this? Let me know on this snowy day. Charlie, come on this snowy day in January. Until next time, guys, like, subscribe, share. Most importantly, comment below. Let me know what you feel. Remember, we are all in this together. Bye. Do you think it's time for you to quit cannabis? Well, I encourage you to make that transition to a new life, free from the chains of weed addiction. It's up to you to make that change, but sometimes we may need a little guided help. So I created a 30-day guided journal to quit cannabis. This journal helps you go through a 30-day process to create a new life. I am a strong believer of people helping themselves, but without being told what to do like a child. But we do need to be steered in the right direction sometimes. Each day focuses on a thought or idea for that day and prompts you to write down your own thoughts and your own reasons. This will help you understand yourself and your addiction. By the end of the 30 days, you will see a clear path on how to create a new life of marijuana sobriety. If you need the motivation to take control like I did, please visit Amazon to purchase the 30-day guided journal to quit cannabis. Your future self will thank you.